You start evaluating a 40-year-old male who presented to the emergency with palpitations and diaphoresis. You get a 12-lead ECG done, and the patient has got a wide, complex, regular tachycardia. You try to dissect the rhythm, but you doubt that there is any P wave. My question to you is, what is the best lead for assessing atrial activity? Is it lead 2? Well, predominantly the atrial depolarization is in the direction of lead 2, and hence it is one of the common leads which is used for rhythm analysis on a 12-lead ECG. Is it lead V1? V1 is the lead which is placed on the right side of the chest and very closely looks at the right ventricular activity. So if you talk about a typical 12-lead ECG arrangement, V1 is the lead which really tells you best about the atrial activity. What about lead V4R? This is not a part of a standard 12-lead trace, but if you put your chest leads from the left side of the chest to the right side, you will get special set of leads which are very much more sensitive to pick up right ventricular myocardial ischemia, and hence these are used in some special situations. What about Lewis lead? Many of you must not have heard this name before. What if I tell you that Lewis lead is the single best lead for assessing the atrial activity and the P waves? Interesting, isn't it? We'll know everything about how to obtain, when to obtain, and what are the clinical implications of getting a Lewis lead in this particular video. Now, before we get started, if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button to keep yourself updated about the new content regularly. If we talk about typical limb leads, these are formed by arrangement of bipolar electrodes of right arm, left arm, and the left foot. Electrical difference between the right arm and the left arm gives rise to lead 1. Between the right arm and the left foot gives rise to lead 2. This is lead 1. This is lead 2, and this is lead 3. This arrangement leads to a famous Einthoven triangle. Now, if you rearrange this triangle, you will get something like this. In this, you're not changing the direction of the leads at all. You are just rearranging it from the central point, which is more commonly used in clinical practice for access determination and other things. Now, how to obtain an ECG trace, the arrangement of various leads, etc., is discussed in a separate video. If you have not watched that video yet, do check the link in the description below. Now, if we consider the right arm and the left arm leads, the potential difference between these is by default labeled as lead 1. Now, if you were to change the position of these leads, if you place them like this, any potential difference in this direction will now be called a new lead 1. So this would not be a classical lead 1 direction, but by changing the positions of the right arm, left arm, and the left leg electrodes, you can play along with the axis of lead 1, lead 2, and lead 3. But why would we do that? Let's start by placing the right arm electrode on the manubrium, left arm electrode at the fifth intercostal space just right of the sternum, and the left leg electrode on the right lower costal margin. Now, since we have changed the points of standard limb leads, the direction of these leads also changes. Now, this becomes the new direction of lead 1, starting from the RA to the LA lead. This becomes lead 2, and this becomes lead 3. Now, if you compare it with the standard Einthoven triangle, you can see that the direction is totally changed, and it's very different. But why do we have to go into this complexity of remembering these new placements of leads? Now, the next slide will make it really interesting. If you remember the atrial depolarization and the directions of the right atrial and the left atrial depolarizations, you will see that it looks something like this as depicted in the diagram. If you have not yet watched the video where we have discussed about the details of generation of the P wave, do check the link in the description below. This new lead 1 actually sits on the atria. So much so that the direction of this new lead 1 almost corresponds to the direction of right atrial depolarization. Hence, this makes the Lewis lead arrangement, especially the lead 1, the most sensitive lead on a surface ECG to pick up the atrial activity. Now, how do you do it practically? It is really simple. If you have got the leads which attach to the body through these sticky ECG electrodes, you just place the electrodes at appropriate points and you attach the RA, LA, and LL leads to the new Lewis arrangement and get an ECG trace. However, if you've got a machine like this, the limb leads of this ECG are attached to the body through these big alligator clips, and the chest leads are attached through these suction cups. Now, the problem here is that you have to attach the limb leads to the chest of the patient, and hence these large clips are not really going to help you. So what you need to do is that you need to detach the clips from these leads and attach suction cups to the 3 of these leads. Apply these suction cups along with leads to appropriate positions of the Lewis arrangement. It's as simple as that. So without any extra equipment and just with the extra knowledge of how to obtain Lewis leads, you can get it in your emergency department on a patient on the bedside. Now that we have seen how to obtain the Lewis lead and why it is important to obtain, there are some clinical situations which you should keep in mind. If you're dealing with a patient having wide complex tachycardia, one of the important parameters to differentiate these two conditions is the atrioventricular dissociation. This will, however, be seen only if you can see the P wave and the QRS complexes distinctly, which is not the case in most patients with wide complex rhythms. In such a situation, a Lewis lead can really be helpful in unmasking the atrial activity. Many times, a narrow complex tachycardia is so fast that the P waves and the T waves get too close to each other, and it is really difficult to differentiate sometimes between a sinus tachycardia, a supraventricular tachycardia, or an atrial flutter. More so, the differentiation between these arrhythmias is based primarily on the atrial activity. So, if it is a tough case of narrow complex tachycardia, you may take the help of the Lewis lead again. Sometimes, the rhythms are really complex and they keep on changing from one part of the ECG to another. If such an ECG needs to be analyzed, you need to break down, that is the atrial activity, the AV conduction, and the ventricular activity clearly. And in such a situation, a Lewis lead can again be of great help. Now, if you have to understand how to analyze wide complex tachycardias, narrow complex tachycardias, and some rare but complex rhythms, do let me know in the comment box below. It is not only about the tachydysrhythmias, but sometimes the bradydysrhythmias can be equally challenging. It may be difficult to differentiate between complete heart block and second degree AV block, which is of high grade, because some of the P waves may be hidden behind the QRS complexes or the T waves, and hence may not be apparent on a standard 12 lead ECG. Again, what to do? Obtain a Lewis lead to see further, to look at all the atrial activity. Simply, sometimes what may happen is that QRS complexes can be really bizarre, tall and wide, and this makes the calculation of various intervals quite tricky, and you'll not be able to see the P waves clearly. Again, obtain the Lewis lead arrangement. So we have discussed about the importance of Lewis leads, how to easily modify the ECG leads to get a Lewis lead arrangement, and what are the clinical situations in which you should obtain a Lewis lead. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, press the like button. For more interesting videos on emergency ECG cases, concepts, and practices, do follow the channel ECG Sadhana. If you like my work, do support me on patreon.com. The links to my social media and my email are given in the description below. I would love to hear from you guys. Until then, stay healthy and keep saving lives.